What up? What it is? What's popping? It's the neighborhood nice guy Kdot, and welcome to the WNBA's 30th season, and also welcome officially keeping it 9450 Codename WBB. We are back, and I am here with my illustrious co-host, the captain, Lolo Bike, aka Lolivia Pope, aka the big low, not the little one. What's good with you? It's been a long time. So what's good? What's good?
It has been a long time. It has. I'm black and I'm blessed. But luckily, we've talked on other podcasts and been able to chop it up. But it's good to be back home where it all started.
That's a fact. And I want to say before we get started, I'm so proud of you. And I say that all the time, right? But like I truly
Right.
mean it when
I
I say
appreciate
it.
it though.
Like you've been doing your thing everywhere. And I'm just happy that we can continue this trajectory that we're going on. Like I know that we might not get the super major accolades compared to others, but I'll say this, like we are like known. Like
Yeah.
we can walk outside and people can whisper and say, is that really K Dot? Is that really Lolo? So it's a blessing for us to be in these spaces, and it's just great to be back talking basketball with you. So I'm
Now you're
happy.
right about that. And I think for me, it really hit 2 years ago when I went to All Star Weekend. And I was introducing myself, and I'm like, I'm with the 9450, and people were like, oh, I know the pod, and I'm like, word, like, so you're absolutely right. We might not get the national media recognition, but people in the WNBA space definitely know us. They feel us, like they get us. We're just waiting for the mass media to get us as well. But all we need is just one opportunity, one yes. So we're gonna keep at this thing until we get that one yes.
That's a fact. And the WNBA is back. We have the 30th season officially tipped off on May 8th. We had expansion energy. We had rookie debuts, physical basketball, some controversial officiating, and early statement games across the league. So I just want to kind of get right into it, Lo. Like, obviously, the 30th anniversary season is here. We have so many good things that we're going to be presenting to you guys. And I think the biggest thing about the 30th season is 30 years ago, we could literally look at our TV screens and say, oh my God, women's basketball is finally coming to our TV stations. And I think to reminisce just a little bit, for me, hearing that news, of course, starting off with the 30th anniversary of the Olympic team that won gold in Atlanta, watching them on Martin,
Mm-hmm.
and just looking at so many iconic figures like Cheryl Swoops, Ruthie Bolton, Teresa Edwards, Dawn Staley, Rebecca Lobo, and all of these figures, it just made me feel proud to be a product of the women's game even back then. So the first thing that you can think about from a 30th anniversary standpoint, what would be one of those things that you can think about just looking back at it? And to say 30 years, like we are here, like
Yeah.
how does that make you feel?
30 years makes me feel old. I'm not gonna lie. Because I remember literally all 30 of the years. Now, my memory of the first years, like I remember the first tip off, like I remember that game, but majority of my memories are my aunt taking me to the Mystics games when I was a little girl and just watching Shamika Holdsclaw and Nikki McCrae just like absolutely hoop. And so this is off topic, but Shamika Holdsclaw just recently got up. She recently got inducted, or she's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. And
Finally.
so finally, right. And so I've been someone that has forever championed her just because I got to see it up close and personal. So I got to see how talented she was up close and personal. And because we have so many new fans, I think a lot of people forget Shamiqua. Like, I know some people give credit for Tina Thompson in terms of being like that stretch four or just a stretch forward in general. But in my opinion, like Shamika Holdsclaw was the first person that I saw that was able to do that. And then, of course, Candace Parker took it to a whole nother level. But Shamika crawled so Candace could walk type of thing. And so she's one of my main memories, like out of the whole 30 years. And it's just special that she's finally getting the flowers that she deserves. And I hold it near and dear to my heart. And I talk to people about it all the time because I'm like, she should have been in the Hall of Fame. Like
Facts.
this stuff, I mean,
A
like
long time ago.
just off of college. You know what I'm saying? Like people forget that she won 3 of them things in college. Like, and then went to the WNBA and was an all-star and did all that. So that's one of my fondest memories. And a little bit, not exactly when the WNBA started, but another fond memory is definitely Lisa Leslie dunking. Like I think that's one of everyone's, like, in the 30 years out of the whole WNBA, I think that's always everyone's like one of their top memories, just because we hadn't really seen women do that, and especially not in a WNBA game.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right, because when it came to those type of moments, I think that I can, of course, go to the Houston Comets, right? You
Yeah,
had Cheryl, you
cool.
had Cynthia, you I mean, the first dynasty.
Yeah,
I mean, with Tina as well. Like the fondest memory that I have, honestly, is not just the official tip off between the New York Liberty and the LA Sparks, but I go back to Teresa Weatherspoon in the half court miracle shot,
Yeah,
against the Comets. Like they thought it was over.
It was done.
And the crazy thing about it is, and shout out to Mike Breen, like he's the one that made the call.
Yeah.
And those NBA
This whole time I did not know that was Mike Breen. I did not know that. That's crazy.
So back in the days, those NBA on NBC themes, when they remixed it to do the
Games
WNBA on, I mean, total, like straight up chaos in a great way.
Yeah.
When it came to the aesthetics of it, the way that it was handled, like I just incredibly enjoyed those moments. And for Mike Breen to be on that call, like that was the most amazing thing. Like me and my grandfather's sitting in his recliner, can hardly move, but when Spoon hit that shot,
he done jumped up.
Shot, he jumped up quick, and I'm jumping all around. Like we going crazy, and it was just an amazing feeling. So you talk about Shamika Holdsclaw and the Mystics, and I think that's where I kind of want to segue into like our first segment. Obviously, the season tipped off on Friday, but not only the Washington Mystics played a team that is brand new to this league.
Yeah.
We have officially the Toronto Tempo, another brand new expansion team coming in, even after the success of the Golden State Valkyries last year. Toronto has come in and played their official first WNBA game versus the Washington Mystics. And Brittany Sykes, our friend of the podcast, scored the first points in Tempo history.
Yeah.
But the Mystics survived that game 68-65. And that all goes to the credit of Sonia Citron, who had an incredible third quarter. Like, I mean, incredible. So, Lo, like, what was your first impression of Toronto's atmosphere and the way that they branded themselves coming into that game? And did you feel like the Tempo had real WNBA marketability immediately with that game on Friday?
I think so. I mean, I think that the numbers have shown the last 2 seasons where they've played games over in Canada, they've been sold out. So I think that it was a no-brainer that Toronto was going to bring that feel. They were going to show up for their team, and they did just that. And they almost got their first victory in their first game. So I think that the fans in Toronto are going to be in for a treat all year. I think that Toronto did, in my opinion, a pretty good job in their expansion draft and also just with their picks and free agency and rounding the team out. I'm not going to lie and say that I had questions about giving Marina and Slim the max, but the money got to go somewhere, and I get it. I think it wasn't even about the money because I'm not pocket watching. It was just the length of time that I thought it would be like a 1 year deal, but we'll get into that another time. But let me just go over my overall thoughts on the game. Shockingly enough, I'm enjoying this young intern Mystics team. Like, they
Facts.
will be a fun, scrappy team to watch all season. And I like the foundation that the Mystics have. I'm not going to sit here and say that they are championship contenders. I still think that they're a few pieces away from truly being contenders, but I do think that they have good foundational pieces. And I think one of the things that stuck out to me was just their ability to dominate in the paint. They outscored them 40-16 in points in the paint. And then you have your young studs and Kiki and Sonia. And in regards to Kiki, I know it's a very short sample size of games in her sophomore year, but I mean, she just has it. Like, her activity on both ends of the floor is contagious, and she's just a workhorse. She's going to outwork you for the ball. Came in aggressive. Think she had 10 boards alone in the first half and ended the game with a double-double, 16 boards, 4 being offensive and 12 points. You briefly touched on it earlier with just talking about Sonia Citron. I mean, just an impressive showing, ending the game with 26 points on 75% shooting from the field and 50 from long distance. Like, what a flawless game. Like, not only are you putting your team on your back, but you're also doing it at a very, very high clip. And I expected Sonya to be a decent WNBA player, but I'm not going to lie. I didn't expect this soon. Like, I didn't expect her to be this good this soon. And she's well on her way to just being one of the best guards in the WNBA, because we have to also realize that she can play both ends of the floor. Now, do I think that she can be better defensively? Yes, but she's a decent defender already. And I also just wanted to shout out Shakira Austin. Efficient play for her as well, hitting those 4 clutch free throws to kind of end the game down the stretch. She came out the gate aggressive, getting their first few points. Ended the game with a double-double, 18 points and 11 boards. And just on Toronto side, really quickly, I wanted to shout out Marina Mabry, 27 points, and her running mate Slim with 14 points. And that fadeaway 3-pointer to get the lead I think that was like 4 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. Marina, I'm like, oh my gosh, that girl can just she just can just shoot lights out. Like, when one goes in, actually the whole family, I've been watching them on TikTok. The whole family can shoot the basketball. I mean, we know all the Mabrys that went to Notre Dame. So, but very good game, very competitive throughout. And I was very impressed with the Mystics' resiliency to close the game, because that was one of their issues last year. They were competitive throughout the entire game and they were unable to close the game often. So in their first game, their ability to close the game, because teams are going to go on runs. We know that it's basketball, but your ability to close the game, I saw that in them in this particular game. And I think it was a hell of a first game for them.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The Washington Mystics have been extremely competitive, first off, and they've been extremely fun to watch. I know, just kind of going back to Toronto a bit, I do like what I've seen in Toronto. Of course, they have a few things to clean up, to button up, but they have a veteran coaching staff. Coach Sandy Brondello has done an incredible job in the sustainability of what the expansion team looks like. I mean, they have veterans on that team. They have a great young nucleus on that team as well. So they will be better. And they did look really good. But Washington just, I mean, again, from a competitive standpoint, looks incredibly exciting. And I want to kind of stick with Washington, because just jumping into Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day to all out there as well. I know that we're recording this and we'll be distributing this on Tuesday, but I want to wish all my mothers out there happy Mother's Day. To talk about the Mystics and the Liberty just briefly. An overtime thriller, 98-93. The Liberty comes out on top. Again, Washington being extremely competitive, and they look like they've been there before to be such a young team. And mind you, this is the second youngest team in the WNBA, averaging at about 24 and a half years old. So to see them compete against a perennial powerhouse in the Liberty, I know that the Liberty were limited in players on Sunday, but it was just an incredibly competitive game to go on the Liberty side. Marine Johannes exploding 25 points, 6 threes. The rookie Pauline Astier with 18 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, holding it down. I mean, it was just incredible. So Lo, can you give me your assessment on the Liberty in the way that they've come out? I know they are 2-0 right now, blew the doors off of Connecticut,
yeah,
on Friday, and then coming back on the road and getting this win against the Mystics. What were your thoughts on the Liberty, and again, just how highly competitive this Washington Mystics team is?
I mean, I thought the Liberty, actually, considering them missing Satu, 2 starters essentially, Satu Sabrina,
Right.
and also Beck Allen isn't playing either.
And
then
Phoebus is still in overseas.
overseas for overseas commitment, and then JJ fouled out. So
Right.
for the fact, I mean, JJ played, I think, 24 minutes, something like that. So that's just a little bit over half the game. So for the New York Liberty to beat a scrappy team like the Mystics, especially being shorthanded the way they were, you just got to give hats off to them. And we can't talk about, we can't talk about this game without mentioning Johannes. Like,
right.
My God, 6 3-pointers on the night. Like, she was not missing. Like, she literally was not missing. And I know some people might look at the box score and say Stewie didn't shoot the ball well, took her 23 shots to make 23 points, but she also grabbed 9 boards, and I think she hit one of the most important points or shots in overtime as well. So I think when New York is fully loaded, because we also have to remember Betnijah is still working her way back. Like, yes, she sat out all last year due to injury, but people don't realize game shape is different just from regular cardio. Like, you have to get back into game shape. So it's going to take them a while to get used to each other, because even when they do come back, they didn't play with Betnijah for a whole year. And then they're also implementing Satu in this lineup, in the starting lineup as well. So I'm very, very interested to see what this New York team looks like, let's say 10 to 15 games from now, when everyone's healthy, when everyone's kind of locked in and building that chemistry, because they have the potential to be a really, really good team, especially when you have someone like Phoebus, Johannes coming off the bench. Like, you have talent coming off the bench. You have a very lengthy starting 5. I'm just very excited to see what they look like. But I think that more so than anything, this win truly showed me that they were able to close out games even when they're not fully healthy. Great win for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to kind of wrap it all in a bow, I want to kind of revert back to Washington. And I want to pose this question because, yes, it's very, very early in the season, but I'm very, very curious to hear your assessment on this, being you're from the region, you're of the region. So shout out to you and your fandom. Just quickly, can Washington sneak into playoff contention sooner than we expect?
I think if they stay healthy, and if they're getting the contribution that I've seen in the last 2 games from Sonia, Kiki, and Shakira, I think that they can sneak in and steal that last spot.
I have to agree. And again, this is very, very early. We could be totally wrong in our assessment, but the way that they look respectively, like, they look really good. And they could be one of the most competitive losing franchises this year, right? Like, it could be cases where they lose a whole bunch of close games like the Indiana Fever did in Caitlin Clark's first year.
Yep.
They went 20-20.
Yeah.
I can kind of see Washington in the same or moving towards the same trajectory, going 500. I know that there are more games this year, so I could see them going 500 throughout the season. But even with that, they've just been so much fun to watch, and I can't wait to continue to watch them because they're young, they're vibrant, but they're gritty. Like they have the players that matches the energy that the opponent is bringing. So I really, really like that.
I think my biggest question mark is just their ability to close games, just because they're so young.
Absolutely.
But I think that if I had a comparison, I think they're a better version of the Connecticut Sun last year. And I know people are going to listen to that and be like, what? The Connecticut Sun weren't good. But if you actually watch the games, they were competitive.
They were very competitive.
They were competitive. Absolutely. Like, yes, they lost a lot of games. So I do think the Mystics will win more than Connecticut did last year. But one thing people cannot say is that they were competitive like all year. Like they lost, but they were definitely competitive for sure.
I'll do you one better and say that the Washington Mystics could potentially be that team, but what will fall for them are their fourth quarter potential woes, because you would think last year sometimes with the Connecticut Sun, sometimes that third quarter will they'll hit a wall. Sometimes in that fourth quarter they'll hit a wall, but then they'll come back and things of that nature. So I can kind of see the same thing with Washington, but I do think that they can be very, very competitive.
So like they're not going to be just like for years you would see Mystics on your schedule and be like, oh, that's an automatic win.
Right.
They're not going to be that. Like you actually have to go out and compete.
You have to compete for sure. And speaking of competing, these next set of games, because we're doing a double take. The Phoenix Mercury, of course, battled the Las Vegas Aces and came out and said, "What?
Hold my beer."
Sweep, the sweep is gone. Let's go ahead and put up 30 on them." I'm not going to really talk too much about this game because there's really not a lot to talk about. It was ring night. It was ring night for the Aces, but I think they were. It was just one of those situations where they were thinking about the ring and not the game.
Correct.
And it was one of those situations with Phoenix where they were thinking about those rings over there, and they wanted to set off a huge statement. And
absolutely,
they did a good job in doing that. But they turned right back around and travel to Golden State and battle the Valkyries, and they forgot how to play basketball. And the Valkyries came out and did their thing. Not necessarily a new look Valkyries team, but a retooled Valkyries team. I like the Gabby Williams signing, of course. I love the Kia Stokes signing, obviously. Caitlin Chen and Letitia Amihir. Let me tell you something. Salute to you guys, because y'all have been doing y'all thug dizzle, and I applaud it. They had a spectacular game versus the Phoenix Mercury. What were your thoughts on Golden State first, and then you give me your thoughts on the first two games for the Phoenix Mercury?
Yeah, I mean, I think Golden State just are kind of piggybacking off of what they did last year. Like they're going to play with energy, they're going to defend, they're going to shoot the ball at a high clip. And in the game specifically versus Phoenix, I think that the first quarter was competitive, but after that, it got really ugly really fast. Phoenix led at the end of the first quarter 20-17. And then in the second and fourth quarters, Golden State just dominated. Particularly in that second quarter is really what kind of created space within the game, in my opinion, because Golden State held Phoenix to 11 total points in the second quarter, simply outscoring them 20 points in that quarter alone. And the three things that kind of stuck out to me were the turnovers, the bench scoring, and then points in the paint. Phoenix was extremely sloppy with the ball. 17 turnovers, 6 of those turnovers coming from AT, which is unusual for her. And even when you look at bench production, Golden State led that 36-17. Janelle coming off scoring 21 points off the bench. And then just Gabby, I was about to say Gabby Douglas, my goodness. Gabby Williams scoring 19 points and grabbing 5 boards in her first game with the Golden State Valkyries. And then I'm going to say this, I said it on the timeline, but I'm going to say it on here as well. Veronica Burton also had another solid game, her first double-double of the season with 13 points and 12 assists. But this is what I said on the timeline. I'm going to say it on here. I think Veronica Burton is going to have a breakout season. Yes, she was the most improved player last year, but I think she's going to be one of the best guards, one of the three. I'll give it 3 to 4 best guards in the league this year, because not only do we know that Veronica Burton is already elite defensively, but offensively, she's also starting to show her bag. She's showing that, hey, I'm not just a defensive player. I can get my teammates involved, and when I need to score, I can also do that as well. So I think that we see her offensive game take a step this year, whether that's with her assists or, she did well last year with assists. I think she was top 5. Actually, she finished top 5 overall with assists. But I really do think we see her take a step this year offensively, and her name is going to be in conversations with the best two-way players in the league, period.
Ooh,
remember where y'all heard that. Remember where y'all heard that first, okay? I'm never wrong, just early, okay? Y'all remember when I said Chelsea Gray was the best point guard of all time, but that's another story for another day. But in regards to Phoenix, I think just a tough shooting night. When you look at Kaz line, she shot 4 for 15. DB was 2 for 9 from the field. She played all but 3 minutes, but she played pretty well aside from the turnovers, 19 points, 11 assists, and 19 points, I think 10 assists, 9 boards, something like that. She was one stat away from a triple-double. And yeah, that's what I got. I think Phoenix needs to just throw away this tape and go back to the scoring board. Go back to the drawing boards. But we also know that it's very difficult to play the Valkyries at home.
Yeah,
so I'm
absolutely.
not taking, if I'm a Phoenix fan, I'm not taking this loss and I'm not overreacting. It's really just get ready for the next game.
Yeah. And in the same sentiment you can say about the Las Vegas Aces coming in that during ring night. Obviously, it was one of those games where you just kind of like ball the paper up, throw it in the trash, start all over. And that's exactly what they did versus the Los Angeles Sparks.
Right.
Entering into championship expectations again. Obviously, the Sparks, with their newly vamped roster, they're no longer rebuilding. They've done and made some major moves, bringing in more veterans and incorporating that with some of their young talent. But they didn't show a great outing versus the Las Vegas Aces. And it could be a case where Las Vegas was like, nah, we ain't letting it happen 2 times in a row.
Yeah.
We're going to come out here, we're going to focus, and we're going to do our thug dizzle. Or it just could be the Sparks are just the Sparks, and they're just not what we expect. And again, we're talking about a sample size of 1 of 44 games, right?
Yeah.
Anything can happen, and we all know the regular season is a crazy assessment on how you would evaluate certain teams, especially early in the season. So I'll go right into the talk, because I know you wanted to talk about this. Cameron Brink, only 8 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, in this game. But I want to hear your assessment on this, because it's been a conversation on the timeline, and I am just curious to hear what you have to say about what happened on Sunday.
Right. So for those that don't know, Lynn Roberts, who is the Sparks head coach, basically came out and said that Cam Brink needs to produce when she's out there. And so she only got 8 minutes on the evening and didn't really do much, honestly. And I think that is twofold, because I think it is true. Cam Brink does need to produce, because you were drafted as the second player in the draft, and they essentially chose you over Rakia. So I do think that she does need to produce, but I think it has to be context added to that overall statement. I don't love that she said it publicly, considering just what Cam has been through. She hasn't played a full season yet, and this is her third season. She hasn't played a full season yet, and I think that we have to have an honest conversation, and Lynn Roberts might want to look in the mirror a little bit too. And some of the blame is on the front office of the Sparks, because when they drafted Rakia and Cam, it was under the impression that they were rebuilding, that they were going to develop these players. And then they pivoted and took their chance in getting KP. And when you go out and get KP, you're not trying to rebuild anymore. You're trying to win. So you quickly change the plans of going from, hey, we're rebuilding and we're developing this talent, to, no, I need Cam to be ready right now because we're trying to compete for a championship. And it's like, that's not fair for a player that had a major injury. It's not like she just twisted her ankle. She tore her ACL. Like, so it takes time to get back physically, but people also don't consider the mental toll that it takes when you can't trust your knee or trust your body after a major injury like that. So in my opinion, Cam hasn't really had a fair chance at developing. My main knock on her game is that she is unable to defend without fouling. And I think that is a skill that you have to learn. You have to learn how to defend without fouling. And that's something that she needs to be taught. And I'm not sure what they're doing over there in LA outside of pointing fingers at her not being able to produce. So like I said, I think it's a very touchy subject, just because I don't really love her coach coming out and saying that when her coach has not shown her own ability to coach well in the WNBA. So let's look at your product too. Like, let's look at what you have done, because your record's not good either. You know what I'm saying? I think that could have been like an in-house conversation, not on Front Street and not during the first 2 games of the season. Because what does that do to her morale? What does that do to her confidence moving forward? Like, there are 2 games in. So I didn't love it. I get it, because she does need to produce. And it's also hard to produce when you're only getting 8 minutes a game. You have no rhythm. How can you produce, right? So I think that I'm not sure that this relationship with Cam and the Sparks are going to go well, but I can guarantee you that it is at least 5 teams that will be on that line if they are willing to trade her at the deadline. And it's multiple teams that I believe will be able to develop her into a damn good player. What do you think about it? I never asked you about it.
And I'm smiling from ear to ear, because like you've hit the nail on the head. I think that from a development standpoint, you're absolutely right. You have to put some context into the situation. Cameron Brink is coming off of an ACL, and prior to the ACL, she had been playing very well, honestly. And sometimes an ACL injury to that magnitude can take a step back, just not only from a physical standpoint, but also from a mental standpoint.
Yeah.
And yes, we all know that she's had trouble with kind of keeping her composure from a foul standpoint. But at the same time, we know what type of player Cameron Brink can be. And I don't think that Coach Lynn Roberts is given, kind of like, I guess, for lack of better terms, a long enough leash to at least help her figure it out herself.
Yeah.
In this standpoint, again, coming off of that ACL, it really, they can talk about 8 to 12 months all you want, but technically an ACL recovery is at least, to me, 16 to 18 months total before
we might be pushing 2024, to be honest.
Could be 2024, 2024 months if you're really trying to get back into it from a physical and mental standpoint. So, like, I know that it's a win now situation. You have a team full of veterans with a sprinkle of young talent, and it's going to be tough, right? But my advice to Cam is to continue to keep your head down, do your work, what you're capable of. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, if these teams start calling, you might want to listen. So just from that overall standpoint, hopefully Cam will be good. Obviously, again, we're talking about 1 of 44 games, and everybody has this deep tissue analysis and think pieces, and you can also add fan fiction into this entire thing. That's another buzz phrase that's been adopted this season. Fan fiction.
Right. I've been seeing
Jesus
that a lot
Christ. So you got to add that to the list. So if anybody in the Twitter sphere or the Thread sphere or TikTok, if they have a list out there for WNBA buzz phrases and buzzwords, make sure you add fan fiction to that. So I think again, I think she will be okay, and hopefully the Sparks are able to just take that loss as a, oh, it's the Las Vegas Aces. They just got blown out. They took their frustrations out on us, and just move on from that point.
Yeah.
But before I get into that next conversation about the rookies and the officiating, I do have two more games that I just want to literally briefly talk about, because the Seattle Storm, to me, I know that they took a loss to Golden State, but they won against Connecticut. I feel like they look really, really good, even without some of the
Key
players.
pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, some of those key pieces. To me, they look fun to watch. They kind of, to me, they're my West Coast Washington Mystics,
Yeah.
honestly.
I agree.
They're very competitive. They look good. Shout out to Zaya Cook. Shout out to Flage Johnson. Like, they look really, really good. And I think they complement each other from starter to bench to starter. Lexi Brown went off
What?
on Sunday. Like, but I ain't gonna get into the other stuff, but it was
We saying her name for
crazy.
the right reasons.
And she shot lights out, man. So, and Connecticut was actually really competitive
They
in
were.
that game too. Shout out to Anissa Morrow. AU has done great things with Caitlin Chen and Anissa Morrow, and that development pool from that standpoint looks really, really good. A lot of AU players are looking really good right now.
That's true.
But I just wanted to give them their flowers. Did you have anything in respect to both Seattle and Connecticut before we move on to Atlanta and Minnesota?
Nope. You hit the nail on the head.
Cool. Now, I do want to talk about Atlanta and Minnesota, because Atlanta was playing with their food for a little while.
I'm telling
Minnesota
you.
was really, but Minnesota looked good regardless, because it's Cheryl. Come on, it's Cheryl. You know, like this is no walk in the park when we're talking about Minnesota. But Olivia Miles,
Rookie of the year. Rookie of the year.
oh my God, we said she was a pro 3-4 years ago.
And did.
And look at what she did in her first game against a potential
top 14.
3.
Yeah, top 3, 5, 4. Yeah.
That's saying a lot. And she looked
without
good
their best player.
Out their best player in Nafisa Collier. Like, she looks really good. She looks like a pro.
I'm gonna ask you this real quick. We ain't talk about it. I'm gonna ask you this real quick. Do you think Liv's success this year, depending on how the year goes, if she's a really good rookie and plays really, really well, do you think that helps Fee stay another year?
It could potentially. And I said that I have a feeling that Fee signed that 1-year deal with a purpose. And part of that purpose kind of feels like she wants to explore outside of Minnesota.
I agree.
Part of me's thinking New York, and they will have the funds to provide that,
which is crazy,
without having to sell too much in 2027. But if Olivia does what she does, I think it will kind of lure, to me, it could potentially lure Fee into saying, you know what, maybe I can look for, if not another year, maybe a little more long term. We'll see. We don't know. That's just speculation.
Yeah.
You know, but Olivia Miles, man, like, she is just like, she's the real deal. We've been saying she's been the real deal. There's not a lot, you know, you could say bad about Olivia Miles. Like, she's just a phenomenal player, you know. But I just want to kind of seg into Atlanta right quick, because for all of that playing around they did on Sunday, they did come back and win this game. Won. Angel Reese with the game clinching block. And this Atlanta Dream team, again, when they're locked in, they can be scary, but they have to be locked in. Like, I mean, super locked in.
Yeah.
And all of that talent can lead to potential semifinal matchup
Yeah,
or even respectfully a finals matchup.
agreed.
We don't know, but they can't be playing with a fool like that for real. Like
Yeah.
for real. And that's a respect that I have for Atlanta. I've always been high on Atlanta, and I think that they can really, really do it, but they have to stay locked in. Before we move on, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I agree. I'm really high on Atlanta. I think what they finished fourth last year, and they went out and got an all-star and re-signed everybody else, and then brought in some other talent, brought Bree Jones back, who still isn't playing yet as well. So I think when she starts playing, it'll get everyone in their right positions and right role. Pow Pow coming off the bench was excellent. She seems to have taken another step. She seems to love it in ATL, and I think the main thing for me was just the turnovers. That's what kind of created the deficit early. 20 turnovers, which led to 27 points by Minnesota. But overall, I think it was just a great showing in their resiliency and coming back to win. And it just tested their ability to close out games. Like I said, they were down by as many as 19 points. So for them to come back in that second half and come back and essentially win the game, like, that was good for them. And I know Angel is happy she got that block, boy, because she smoked that lay on the other end. My
Oh
God.
man,
She smoked that thing, boy. But I also want to say on that final play, that pass by Liv. Oh my
was
gosh.
phenomenal, and
Oh my gosh.
had her teammate not bobble,
Yep.
because it was a bobble
Yep.
that led to the block.
Yep.
But that pass was
That was a game winner right there.
amazing. That was the game winner for real, for real. But selfishly, I'm gonna give her some criticism. Selfishly, I just want her to take that shot regardless.
Yeah.
That's just selfishly.
Yeah.
It was a great decision.
It was a great decision.
Pass.
It was the right decision.
It was the right decision. But selfishly, I want her to take that shot. I love her that much and have trust in her that much to go ahead and take that shot and just live and die with the consequences. Don't matter.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna still love you after that shot.
Yeah.
Respectfully. We've been talking.
She'll grow into it though.
Right.
I mean, Cheryl's gonna be great for her. Like,
absolutely,
she's gonna be absolutely amazing for her. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
They found their cornerstone for sure.
Yep.
Their additional potential cornerstone for sure.
I can't wait to see that Liv fee pick and roll. My God.
Oh, it's gonna be the pick and roll, the pick and pop, the pick and fade is going to be.
It's funny
incredible.
Because now that Court has seen her like in action, because in the beginning Court was still like, they were still like, oh, I'm gonna be playing. We're gonna be alternating who plays one. No, go back to two.
We know what it is.
We've seen enough. we like, don't get me wrong, you did a great job adjusting to playing the one. But this is a traditional. This is a real point. Like, this is someone who was made to be a point guard. You know what I'm saying? It's just natural for her.
Listen, Olivia Miles is an upgrade to Jasmine Thomas when Courtney Williams was in Connecticut back in 2019.
Agreed.
Like it's an upgrade. Like I'm being dead serious when I say that. Jasmine Thomas was an incredible point guard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people forget about Jasmine Thomas sometimes. But now you have Olivia Miles, who, to me, again, an upgrade, a better shooter, a better decision maker, in my opinion, in a flashier point guard. I think that Courtney could potentially have her best season as the secondary guard. She already had her best season as a point guard. Now she's going to arguably have her best season as a secondary combo guard. And I know that moving into this conversation is a little bit more somber, but we have to have this conversation before we go. Basketball has always been great, but the whistle has dominated way too much in the discussions.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you, with all of this officiating, has the league tried to overcorrect itself with the emphasis on freedom of movement?
Oh, absolutely. It's been disgusting to watch. The games have been a lot longer. It's moments where it's just literally no flow to the game. And the craziest part about it all is it's still very inconsistent. So you're not fixing the problem at all. And that's why I was very vocal and, quite frankly, irritated with Fee and Cheryl Reeve, where they came out and said the physicality is just too much. It's ridiculous. Like, they're comparing us to the NBA of the 80s. First off, no one ever, and I mean ever, said that. No one ever compared it to the 80s, because That's just not true. And it was a little bit more physical in the early 90s. But anyway, I think we can all agree that the officiating in the WNBA has been terrible for as long as I can remember. It has been extremely inconsistent, and we can all agree on that point. But I don't think it's a physicality issue. I think it's a consistently officiating issue. It's literally an officiating issue. Like, be consistent with the calls, and then we won't see as much physicality. I think it's that straightforward. Like, it's just, to me, that's what it is. But now when you come out and say it's a physicality issue, then the refs are literally going to call everything and then still be inconsistent. So not only is it still going to be physical, but it's going to be longer games. It's going to be less action back and forth because they're going to keep stopping it to call fouls. Like, and we already saw it. JJ fouled out. Dominique Malonga fouled out. Stephanie Dolson fouled out. Like, so many people have already fouled out. Like, that's going to be a trend that we see. Like, we want these players to play. We do not want to see them foul out. But I think that is also the result of what you get when people open their mouth and say the game is too physical.
I definitely agree. And we don't even have to expound anymore because you provided such great dialogue from that. And I've always been this person that said that the women's game is the purest form of the game,
Yep.
and physicality is a part of that. And I love the freedom of physicality in this game, but when you take that away and you try to make it a product for more offensive productivity, it takes away the true balance of the game, in my opinion. So you've hit the nail on the head.
Last thing I want to say about that, and if you feel like it's not enough, not you, but the fans and people that have been complaining about the physicality, if you feel like it takes away from the offensive game, you might need to get back in the lab and work on your game.
You might
because Asia scored 53. Sure. She scored 1,000 points last season. 2 seasons before that, Jewel Lloyd scored 900 points that season. So the players can score. You might have to get back into the lab if it's difficult for you to score on the defense. And I agree with you 100%. The WNBA, the special part about the WNBA is how pure it is and how we get to see both sides of the floor. We get to see players play offense, but we also get to see lockdown defenders. And that's one of my favorite parts about that's one of my favorite parts about the WNBA, because we're not getting that on the men's side. All we see is highlight. And it's just not good basketball, frankly. Like, I don't want to see players go to the free throw line after free throw line. Like, of course, if you get fouled, cool. But, like, I want to see a game that has rhythm and is flowing, not stopping because the refs want to be the superstars.
Agreed. And I think that's a mic drop right there. So lastly, just quick rapid fire. If you could give me one or two rookies that looked incredibly great, and maybe one or two rookies that maybe looked the least overwhelmed, who do you think those rookies would be? And I just want to give you my rookie, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
The rookie who looked the least overwhelmed, obviously, is Olivia Miles, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But my second one is the bevy of foreign rookies. Pauline, Nogic out of
the Phoenix.
Phoenix. Yes,
she was hooping.
I
was like, who is this?
She was hooping.
I had to look up. I had to look her up. I didn't know who she was.
Yo, and was it Friday or was it? No, it was Saturday. It was Saturday.
They got their doors on Saturday.
She was hooping.
Yeah,
she was hooping. Oh my God! But yeah, the international rookies, and then Olivia Miles. Those are my rookies that look the least overwhelmed. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, I of course had Liv on there, but I also want to give love to Flage because she surprised me. I'm gonna be honest, like, she has really surprised me. I thought it was going to be a slower transition for her, but she looks comfortable, and I think it just is a testament to the fit of the team. Like, she went to the right team. Seattle's a good team for her. They have very young cores, so I think it's not as much pressure for them to win right now. so she can grow and develop and just go out and play freely with no pressure really on her. So I've been really, really impressed. I think her first game she had like 12 points, the second game maybe 16 points. Like, I'm just most impressed with her aggressiveness, how she's aggressively going to the cup, how she's getting her defensive stance and just playing hard. And I really like that Seattle team. And we haven't even seen our fam. We haven't even seen Ezzy. So I'm very interested to see what they look like when everyone is healthy and they can play together. And before we get out of here, because I know we're running behind, but before we get out of here, the Dallas Wings.
I love that.
They're hooping. They are hooping.
That game Saturday was so good. Oh my
man,
goodness!
They're gonna be good.
Like shout out to the Dallas Wings. Shout out to Kurt Miller. And we were questioning it. We were questioning it.
Now I'm still questioning the AZ pick, but I'm not gonna lie. I just think that they should have went with the big to pair with Paige as she continues to grow. Because now you have AZ on the bench because Isaiah James is playing well. You still got Enrique.
Correct.
You have Odyssey Sims, we know what Odyssey can do.
Yes.
So it's like, where is AZ going to even get these minutes to develop? What I'm saying. And so that's why, like, I'm not saying she's not good enough to be the number one pick, but I'm saying that I didn't love it because they didn't need an immediate need for her. So now she's going to be buried on the bench until God knows when.
And I think I'm gonna take the other approach to it. I think it's gonna be very good for her to see the likes of an Isaiah, to see the likes of an Enrique, to see the likes of an Odyssey, because that, just like you said with Flage and taking that pressure off of her, is definitely gonna take the pressure.
Absolutely.
Now, obviously, from a optic standpoint, you're the number one pick. You should not be having like 13 minutes a game as the number one overall pick. I get that part, right? But at the same time, I am taking a more mature approach to her situation. And just honestly, Dallas looks so much fun. They look like they're having fun. And the Atlanta Smith and Jessica Shepard pickups in the offseason, they have, in that first game, you see it paying dividends, but we need to see if it continues, just like we've talked about with these other teams. We need to see if it continues. But the WNBA wasted zero time. We've officially already had the officiating discourse, rookie conversations. We talked about the expansion team. I know we didn't talk about Portland. Portland is not an expansion team, by the way. They just reintroduced themselves as the Portland Fire. They're not an expansion team to me. And we've also talked about a lot of what could be contenders. And this season feels like it's about to be absolute chaos in the best way possible. So with that being said, we want you guys to subscribe to the 9450 Basketball Network on YouTube. Follow myself, Kevin Kdot Lewis, at K.Lew3H on our platforms. Follow the 9450 at the 9450 on Twitter, at the 9450 _ on Instagram and TikTok. And we already know what we can see from Lolivia Pope. So, Lo, tell everybody where they can follow you.
Yeah, Lolo Bike on Twitter, on TikTok. I am Hoops with Lo. I'm also on Instagram, Hoops with Lo. And you can also check me out on the Best Damn W podcast, or the Best Damn W show, on Tuesdays at 9:30 on all streaming platforms. So tap in. We're back. Thank you guys for tapping in with us. It's been a while, but we're back, and we will be back every week.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you, Lo, as always. Make sure you hit us up from our sponsors at SeatGeek. Make sure the code, the 9450, to get $20 off of all of your ticket purchases. Shout out to Welshmo Coffee. And this has been the official first episode of the season. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Keeping it 9450, codename WBB, on behalf of your host, Kevin Kdot Lewis, and Lo. We are out of here. See you later. Love is love. Peace.